Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sharon. So before we get into today's video, I just want to start off by saying a very big thank you to everyone that has supported me so far. This channel just crossed 1,000 subscribers and I am really so honored and thrilled and grateful to have every one of you here. Thank you all so much. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about do's and don'ts for your resume as a UX designer. This kind of applies to not just UX designers, but different kinds of designers as well. But I'm going to try and streamline it more to UX and product design. So this video is going to be part of a series that I'm starting where I'm going to be talking essentially about the hiring process. So whether you're changing jobs or you're trying to get your first job, I will be talking about everything from your resume, which will be this first video, to your portfolio, what you should include, what you should be mindful of. I will also be talking about design challenges, so your take-home design challenges, your whiteboard challenges. I will also talk about how you relate to your interviewers, people that are going to talk to you, the most common questions that you would most likely be asked as well in an interview session, as well as giving some tips and tricks about offers and how to negotiate them best. Now, of course, if this all sounds like something that you're interested in, please do not forget to support me by liking, sharing, and of course subscribing to my channel. You can also put on the notification bell to be notified whenever I post new content. So without wasting any more time, let's get into today's video. Now this video is going to be split into two parts, so your do's and your don'ts. I have included the timestamps in the description below where you will also find some pretty helpful links and articles to things relating to CVs and resumes for designers. So let's get started and talk about our do's first. So do number one is give a brief overview of yourself at the top section of your resume. Now in this section here, you're just going to want to highlight who you are as a designer, how many years of experience that you have, what your core competencies are, what your strengths are, what you probably enjoy most. Now of course you want to keep this pretty short and concise, so 2 to 5 lines where you just kind of highlight the important bits of yourself. Now why this is so important is because one, you get an opportunity to sell yourself, and then two, a lot of companies ask for cover letters and they don't eventually read them, and then some other people don't even ask for cover letters at all. So by doing this and including this section in your resume, you are saving the recruiter time so they can easily glance through your CV at first and get some key knowledge and understanding of who you are, and then it gives you the opportunity to set yourself apart from other people who probably haven't included this in their resumes. So do number two is try to list relevant experience. So you just want to ensure that the experience that you're listing in your resume or CV is relevant and is really tech related a lot of the time. So of course, if you're pivoting from maybe product management or from web development, app development, or whatever, it is going to be very relevant. So you want to ensure that you include that. Also, if you've done internships and things like that, definitely include those. So if you've done some customer facing jobs, for example, call center, technical assistant, those are also pretty relevant because of how much interfacing you have to do with the user, which is a core part of working as a UX designer. Now, of course, if you have some experience, maybe a part-time job in construction and that kind of thing, it may not be the best to include that. Not because there's anything wrong with it, but just because it's not exactly relevant to tech, and so you want to make sure that you're leaving enough space to really highlight the things that could make you stand out as a good candidate versus others. Do number three is try to ensure that you list your achievements and responsibilities in your previous roles. So as I mentioned, talking about your previous experiences and ensuring that they're relevant, you also want to go under these experiences and really highlight either what you achieved or what you were responsible for. So using this method, you really just get to show whoever is reading through your CV what you're capable of. So if you achieved something, for example, you designed a landing page which increased engagement or increased sign up or increased conversion by a particular percent, you want to include that in your resume. So you can say, I worked with a team on redesigning a landing page that was able to increase engagement or increase sign-ups by such and such percent. And just by that, you've shown us what you were able to achieve. Or you can talk, of course, about your responsibilities. So what were you responsible for? You could say you were in charge of maintaining the design system, so updating it, making changes, and ensuring everything is consistent across all touch points of the product. So you're highlighting what you are responsible for, and those are very important for people when they're looking through your CV to understand what you accomplished and what you have done in general. Do number 4 is prioritize legibility. Always, legibility comes first. So you want to ensure that you're not over designing, you're not including too many colors or things that are not necessarily relevant. So icons, pictures may not be the best place. This is not necessarily where you want to go overboard and show the most creativity. This is where you want to just prioritize it being easy to understand and easy to read for anyone. So of course the design should be good and clean and neat, but ensure that too much isn't going on. Do number 5 is include your informal education. A lot of people feel a bit confused about this sometimes because they wonder, I took a course on this platform that is not as good as obviously a proper school. Should I include this? And I usually tell people, yes, if it's a relevant course relevant to UX design, then 100% include it, because what could be the worst that would happen? All that it shows is that you're going out of your way to improve yourself and to actually take an effort to learn outside of traditional classrooms, which just shows that you're interested in self-development, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. So just be sure that you include it in a way that it's easy to understand, and ensure that the course or certificate that you're talking about is one that's related to UX design. So we've spoken a bit about our do's, let's talk about our don'ts. Don't number 1, don't include skill bars in your resume. So skill bars, what are these? These are, for example, you could use a circle or a bunch of circles, so like 10 circles, and then fill 8 out of these 10 circles to indicate that you are 80% proficient in a particular skill or software. Now, while your intent is definitely to let whoever is in charge of hiring know that you are competent or not so competent in this particular software or skill, it doesn't always communicate it in the way that you would think, because there is no universal way to actually measure how good or bad you are at using this particular software or this particular skill. So we're just taking your word for it. So it's not the most professional way to highlight your proficiency at a skill. So what you could do is really just list your skills. So if you're good at HTML, CSS, JavaScript, just list it there and just leave out the skill bars. So don't number 2, don't over design. I know as a designer there is always going to be this temptation to want to go above and beyond and really show just how much of an amazing creative designer that you are. This is great, but maybe your CV and resume might not always be the best place to show this. So you do want to ensure that you're not adding too many colors or too many pictures and icons and things like that that don't actually add to the value or actually add to the core content of your CV or resume. So you want to ensure that anything that you're adding just increases the value and doesn't take away or distract. Also, this is a good place to remind you that your CV and your portfolio are very different, so try not to mix the two. In your portfolio, you can highlight your past experiences, but it's not the focus of it. And in your CV, I would not advise including your projects either. They're very different, and most people that open up your CV or resume just want to see your work history, your skills, and your education, and don't necessarily expect to see your projects included there. Don't number 3, don't not include a link to your portfolio. It is extremely important that your portfolio is very accessible and super easy for anyone to access. So if there's a password for your portfolio, put it in there. Put it in your CV. If there's a link, make sure that the link is clickable, even in the PDF format. So there are ways to do this, either using Google Docs or Acrobat Reader or whatever platform you're using. So ensure that when they click on that link, it takes them straight to your portfolio and it's easy for them to dive in. Now, this is very important because very few companies, or unless you really have an amazing, outstanding profile, would actually reach out to you and ask for a second step and ask for you to maybe send the link to your portfolio or send the password. So while you might be trying to protect some information or something, you could also just be hurting your chances. So try to ensure that your CV has a portfolio link included in it that is very easy to access. Note number 4 is don't be too vague when describing your past responsibilities in your previous roles. So you don't want to be saying things like designed a landing page, designed a mobile app, added something to the design system. You want to ensure that you're talking about what it is that you did is concise, to the point, but does give enough context that it actually makes sense and doesn't look like you just came up with it in your head. So if you want to talk about a mobile app that you designed, what was the app for? Just give a little bit more context so people actually know what it is that you're talking about, and it doesn't sound like something that you just randomly came up with. Don't number 5, and our final don't, is don't be repetitive. Now I know in resumes there is a similarity. Obviously, if you've had the same kind of position multiple times, a lot of your experiences are going to look pretty similar, but try to ensure that it's not actually repeating over and over and over again, because then it just looks, unfortunately, like maybe you didn't give extra time to really think about what it is that you did in your previous roles. So you want to ensure that each role is different from the other. You want to ensure that you did something different, or you worked on a different projects in each role, and you want to highlight that. So maybe one particular role was very B2B focused and one was B2C focused. So you want to highlight that at least that was different, even if maybe on both there were mobile projects. So you just want to ensure that the person who is reading through your CV understands that you've worked on a variety of projects and a variety of varying kinds of situations. That way they understand you and your experience better. So guys, I really hope that today's video was helpful for you. Of course, if it was, please do not forget to support me by liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. And of course, you can put on the post notifications so you are notified whenever I post new content. Thank you all so much for watching today, and see you again soon.